Greetings, loyal viewers, and welcome back to another Spyro commentary. It's been certainly a bit slow these past several days since the last one, hasn't it? And that's because, well, I hear that they're definitely going to have a bit to talk more about it in Gamescom. I think that's actually happening this week. But until then, we have some new screenshots, not just with Spyro 1 and 2, but also with Spyro 3. So, with that said, let's take a look at what we've got. So, we have this one here from the level Cloud Spires from the first hub world of Spyro 3, and we finally, and I do mean finally, get a good look at a Reignited enemy, specifically the winged ones from Cloud Spires. And I love how, much like how in Gulp, they managed to make them both look honestly a little bit more dopier, but somehow more aggressive and menacing at the same time. Maybe it's just the teeth, I don't know, but I don't know how they managed to pull that off, but they do. And I absolutely love the way this thing is designed. It looks pretty much how I would imagine these enemies would look like updated, and I like how they're giving them a bit more features to make them look a little closer to how rhinos would look, so to speak. And talking about it, and I love the way in Spyro's running animation how it kind of syncs up here, and I like the wind effect being presented with the enemy flapping its wings at you, because that's how it attacks you. And what little we can see of the background of the level itself in Cloud Spires, it looks really nice. I can't really fully judge on that till we can get a better shot of that, hopefully soon enough. But now, moving on to the next image, and we have, finally, Spyro skateboarding. And oh boy, does he look adorable. And I also, at this point, I should also quickly say, just to get out of the way, not only has Sparks' design pretty much have grown on me at this point, but also one of the container designs. If you look at it more closely, you can definitely see that they actually have been still keeping it with that little bit of the wicker look that they did in the original, while still giving it a little bit of that clay design. I actually really like that. That's a very out there creative design for those kind of containers, if you ask me. And as for the level itself, this is obviously the skateboarding minigame, the very first one in the entire game. And one of the things I like about the design here is with the large moss growing on the buildings. That's clearly not grass; that's actually moss. And I actually think that's actually both very clever and creative, because from what I could tell, this place, even in the original, I had a feeling this place had been abandoned for God knows how long, so it only makes sense that there would finally be some moss growing on the buildings. That's actually really clever. And so sadly for now, those are the only shots we have of Spyro 3. We finally have this shot of Scorch from Spyro 2, and it looks beautiful. I like seeing a bit of a Spyro's flying animation again, his gliding / flying. And looking in the background, we have the musket enemies. I can't really fully make them out yet, but hopefully we'll get a better look at them soon enough. We see he hasn't hit the switch yet to raise the flag. And we have, on the left here, we have the camel enemy, and I love how that they still kept them with the 2 legs, and they have them look dopey. Good on you, Toys for Bob. I also want to talk really quickly, because I have heard a couple people of complaining of why they don't have fur, why some of the creatures like the Yeti, Moneybags, and even these camels have fur on them, like actual fur. Well, number one, unlike Vicarious Visions, they don't have the same exact graphical power to be able to provide that kind of thing. And you'll notice that too when they ported the Insane Trilogy to the Switch, that almost every single NPC, character, whatnot, had their fur textures replaced with the illusion of, which is kind of what these characters have, these enemies and other characters. Now, honestly, I do like them better on these, a little bit more. And honestly, I'm not really against the illusion of fur if it's done right. And this, in my opinion, is done fairly well, and it doesn't stick out. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Everything else about the level looks pretty much fitting, and it looks very fitting and very beautiful to what I've come to expect from a updated version of Scorch. Now moving on to I'm not going to talk too much with this one because we've already seen enough of Stonehill at this point, even I can admit that. But it is nice to know that they're still keeping it the same updated color to make it match more to the original. And it is nice to see Spyro spewing fire at the ram enemies, which I really like. So, moving on. Now on to this final image we got that, as far as I can tell, leaked on Twitter while I was asleep. And one of the things I like about it is that even though the sky still is blue, I like how some parts of the in the lower part of the skybox are a bit blurry, which is actually much like the moss on the buildings in Sunny Villa. I actually think that's very clever, because if you've ever been in the desert for a long enough period of time, things from a distance seem very blurry. Of course, Spyro wouldn't have to worry about that because, well, he's a dragon. But I digress. Anyway, we also see a little bit of the sword enemy in the center there. Can't really make it out much like the musket enemies, but again, we'll probably see more of that soon enough. And seeing more of the camel enemies, and I also love that they still have it to where they're sticking their heads into the ground, like, oh my god, that is hilarious. I also like the palm trees too, and the designs of the buildings and whatnot, and how beautifully sunny it still is. It's really nice. So yeah, that's about all the images we have here. I really like what toys. At this point, I am completely sold on this game. I don't know if I haven't pre-ordered it yet. I'm abiding more of my time, a bit more of my time wisely to pre-order it. But just know, I am definitely getting this game on day one. Toys for Bob, you have up to this point been doing a great job. Do not let me down. No, I am not freaking out over that stupid download thing. That has just gotten ridiculous. So, with that said, I'm King Gargantuous, and I'll see you all next time.